You open a random video, scroll past a dozen others, and somehow you stop here. Maybe that's meaningless, or maybe it's just exactly what you needed to hear. Because the truth is that most people, they don't need more information. They need a reminder that time is moving, opportunities are passing, and the life they want isn't going to magically appear one day. And if you're watching this, consider it your sign. Your sign to stop waiting, your sign to stop assuming, and you'll eventually become the person you've been imagining. Your sign to realize that the future is being built by what you do today, not what you plan to do someday. And human beings are incredibly good at delaying their own lives. We tell ourselves that we'll start when we have more confidence, more money, more motivation, or more certainty. But here's the problem: those things usually arrive after action, not before it. And confidence is built by doing difficult things repeatedly. Motivation often appears once and you've already started, and clarity comes from movement. Yet millions of people spend years sitting in the waiting room of their own potential. Think about how many dreams quietly disappear, not because people weren't talented enough, but because they never truly began. And the business ideas stay in a notebook. The book remains unwritten, and the skills are never developed, and the conversations never happen, and the opportunities pass by because waiting feels safer than trying. The human brain, it's designed to avoid uncertainty. It wants predictability and comfort, but comfort is deceptive. It can feel peaceful while slowly stealing your future. And every day you spend avoiding discomfort is another day someone else is practicing, learning, creating, and becoming the person you wish you could be. And one of the biggest misconceptions about successful people is that they process some rare quality, but others don't. In reality, many of them simply started before they felt ready, and they took action while feeling nervous. They made mistakes publicly, and they looked inexperienced, and they failed repeatedly. And through all of that, they gained something that waiting can never provide: the momentum. Momentum changes everything. Once you begin moving, even imperfectly, your mind starts adapting. Problems become puzzles instead of obstacles. Fear becomes manageable instead of overwhelming. And progress creates energy, and energy creates more progress. But the first step is usually the hardest because it requires acting without that guarantees. And that's why this would be your sign. Maybe you've been telling yourself you'll start next week. Maybe you've been saying this is just a bad season and things will improve later. Maybe you're convinced yourself that other people are naturally more disciplined or gifted. But the reality is that your future doesn't care about your excuses. Time moves forward anyways, and 1 year from now will arrive whether you take action or not. The question is simple. When that day comes, will you be grateful that you'd started or frustrated that you waited again? And there's a powerful idea known as compound growth. People usually think of it financially, but it applies to nearly every area of your life. Small actions repeated consistently create massive changes over time. Reading 10 pages every day becomes dozens of books each year, and exercising for 30 minutes daily transforms your health. Learning a skill for 1 hour a day adds up to hundreds of hours of practice. Tiny actions often look insignificant in the moment, but they become life changing through consistency. And unfortunately, the opposite is also true. Small acts of procrastination compound too. Delaying important decisions, avoiding difficult conversations, constantly choosing entertainment over growth. And these habits seem harmless because their consequences aren't immediate. But eventually, they accumulate into regret. And regret is one of the heaviest emotions people experience because it forces you to imagine the person you could have become. And studies on human being happiness repeatedly shows that people tend to regret the things they didn't do more than the mistakes they made. And failure hurts temporarily. Inaction can hurt for decades, and that's because trying gives you answers and avoidance gives you questions that never go away. And what if I had started? And what if I had taken the opportunity? What if I had believed in myself a little bit more? And those questions can follow someone for an entire lifetime. And here's something that else worth understanding. Nobody has everything figured out. The people you admire are often improvising far more than you realize. And these experience fear, uncertainty, and self-doubt and setbacks too. And the difference is that they continue anyways. They understand something essential. Action creates the possibility that thinking alone never can. Every meaningful achievement begins with an imperfect step into uncertainty. You don't need to transform your life overnight. In fact, trying to change everything at once usually fails. Instead, focus on one decision, one habit, one section, or one action you've been postponing. Send the email, make the call, start learning the skill, go to the gym, write the first page, apply for the opportunity. Begin, because beginning has incredible power. And the first step often feels small, but it breaks the psychological barrier. It proves that to you that movement is possible. It shifts your identity from someone who wants change to someone who creates the change. And identities matter because people tend to act in ways they reinforce who they believe they are. And every action is a vote for person you're becoming. And if you're still watching this, maybe it's because some part of you already knows what needs to happen next. Maybe you've been waiting for uncertainty, or for that certainty, I mean. And when you really need and encourage is courage. And maybe you've been looking for a sign, and that's impossible to ignore. So here it is. Life is shorter than it seems. I've seen it. And your potential doesn't last forever in storage. Opportunities have expiration dates. And the future version of you is being shaped right now by decisions that appear small and ordinary. And if you're watching this, let it remind you that someday is not a day on the calendar. There's only today, and today's choices quietly become tomorrow's reality. Don't wait until you're ready. Don't wait until conditions are perfect. Don't wait until another year disappears. Start before you feel prepared. Start while you're uncertain. Start, because every meaningful change begins with a decision that refuses to wait any longer. And if you're watching this, it's your sign. Thanks for watching. If you found value in today's video, please subscribe. We're looking to build a subscription base here, and we want to give a little bit more positivity to this world. And I hope you join us on the next one. Have a good day. We'll see you guys later.